Good morning. Welcome to Rising Phoenix Lifestyles. My name is Krista. I am an intuitive and spirituality life coach. And I think we're going to call this uh, Morning Bedhead Coffee Chat. So, I wanted to share with you today just how powerful your focus is to your life. Because where energy goes, it grows. So, I wanted to share a story with you. Change your focus and you can change your life. And I'm not just like, I didn't read this in a book. I actually went through my first spiritual awakening. Excuse me. It's that first thing in the morning deal in 2012. And there's a story behind that too that I will share with you at a later date. But I was so out of touch with really everything about me. I had spent my life people pleasing and trying to meet everybody else's expectations, putting everybody else's needs first, because that's what nice people do. No, no. And my progress was slow because I didn't have anyone to show me the way. No one in my life really, up to that point, I'd not met anyone who was spiritual. I'd not met anyone who had any new information than what I'd been told and understood to be the truth my entire life. So anyway, in July of 2017, I had my Kundalini awakening, real spiritual come to the truth moment. And at that time, I was on 7 medications. I'd been diagnosed with mixed connective tissue disorder. I was walking with a cane. The doctors were telling me it was a chronic progressive disease. There was no hope. I should just sign up for disability, and that was how my life was going to go. And when you think about somebody who's in that position, constant doctor appointments, I had 3 different specialists that I saw at least once a month, medications, your entire focus is now on being sick. And so I kept getting more sick. Well, the day that the doctor told me, there's no hope. You're just going to have to try and manage it, and you'll deal with this for the rest of your life. Something inside me was like, no. So, not my most shining moment, but it was definitely a turnaround in how I started dealing with things. So, as I'm getting ready to leave, they're like, we need to schedule another appointment. I was like, you know what? Fuck you. You're fired. If this is the best you can do for me, I just keep getting more and more sick. I'm like, I'm done. And I walked out. So for someone in that situation, it might not have been the most practical decision, but it turns out it was a very good decision. Because my focus went from you're sick to how can I get my well-being back? And that became my constant focus because I knew that in order for me to regain the life that I wanted to live, to be the person that I've always known myself to be, never a victim, always a survivor. And something in my soul was like, hell no, when the doctor said I had to go on disability. I'm like, that's not who I am. But it was like stirring underneath all the other garbage I'd piled on top of it from the expectations and everything else. Like there was this little ember of actual me still burning in there. And it was through this process that I really started to get back in touch with my inner self. And in my coaching, I refer to it as an inner child, and there's a reason for that. It actually, because through my own process, again, I was doing this on my own, just kind of like figuring out different things that worked as I went along. So it was a slow process. But that visual really helped me have a tangible connection to something that otherwise is kind of, especially if you've spent a lot of time not in touch with your intuition, it can be hard to get back to that place because after years of shoving down your higher guidance, it's just kind of like a theory. So anyway, I started dealing with this whole idea of the inner child and who I really was in that moment in the doctor's office was what really got me to thinking, like, who am I? Like, who am I now? I mean, I know I'm not a victim, but who am I? And through this process, I got some momentum going, because where focus goes, where energy goes, it grows. So I got some momentum going about things in my life that I did not find acceptable. And 2 years later, everything was different. Everything. I had basically napalmed my existing life, and I'm not even joking when I say that. I now lived in a different state. I was now single, and I went from walking with a cane and being on medication. I had spent those 2 years rebuilding my finances, rebuilding my self-love, rebuilding my health, focused on overall well-being. So by November of 2019, the chick that was walking with the cane, I was now operating a flatbed wrecker. And if you've ever watched a vehicle from an accident scene being loaded onto a flatbed wrecker, it's very physical. It requires a lot of strength. I had regained my strength and endurance, and no meds, no cane. I was spending 8 hours a week at the gym because 10 years prior, this was before I had started to get sick. And I now know where the source of that came from. However, that's a different story. So anyway, 10 years before I got sick, I had run a Spartan. If you've ever heard of the Spartan Challenge, it's a very demanding 5K. Well, so here I am 10 years later, having recovered from my chronic debilitating illness. And so I signed up for a Spartan 10K to celebrate the progress that I'd made. So I'm 8 hours in the gym, doing a man's job that a lot of men can't do after being told that I should go on disability. And where I'm going with this is the idea that by changing your focus, you can change your life, and you can really start to attract much better things. Really start building the life that you want to live. And what happens so many times is we get so caught up over here, and all of our focus goes to what we don't want, that we keep getting more of what we don't want. But we have not been taught how to consciously choose our thoughts. Because a belief, we talk about changing our beliefs. A belief is just a thought that you continue to think. And over here, when all of my days were consumed by illness, that was my reality, and I didn't see any other option, because my belief at the time was that doctors know best, and if that's what the doctor says, then that's what I need to do. Until my inner child was like, hell no. And I learned to trust that my body knows what it needs and how to heal itself. And I did a lot of research because I had to wean myself off the medications and find the source of the illness, which the doctors did not guide me to. It was a matter of me researching and reading medical journals and finding out, like, okay, so most of this stems from inflammation. What causes inflammation in the body? So then I go back and I start reading about, how your diet can affect it. Your overall mental state can create disease in the body. And I'm like, wait a minute. And so I started backtracking. And again, this story for another time. But I realized that the treatment that I had accepted as okay in my life, based on my old beliefs, had really led to this point of being so sick, because I was not living my truth. I wasn't speaking my truth. I wasn't honoring myself and demanding the respect that I deserved. And so through this process, having learned all of these different things, I was able to come up with new beliefs and how to reprogram the way I thought that led to wellness, overall well-being. And that's something that, because I did several jobs after I napalmed my life because I was trying to find my direction. Well, I got certified as a coach in 2018 as part of my own healing journey. I, some people go to a coach, and instead I became a coach to help myself. I also became a Reiki master, to do it on me. And as I got more and more into this well-being and centered in who I am, Source was like, hey, this wasn't all for you. Like, this is what you're meant to do. So what I do in my coaching is I help other people to make this transition. But when you have a guide, it goes so much more smoothly. I am in the process of revamping my website. However, if you're interested, until the end of September, I am running a special on my 1-hour coaching sessions. And I know I disappeared for a few days, but what I've been doing is coming up with a 12-week course that is basically like 12 weeks of in-depth, getting all the steps, getting all the processes to go through this for yourself. And we're going to have a community so you can have the support of other people, because when people come together with a common goal, a common purpose, that energy just builds and it increases that momentum from point A to point B. And you have a tribe of people with a common goal. And that is so powerful, because as I went through this process, I found my tribe. But again, it was so slow because I had no clue what I was doing, and I was feeling it out for myself along the way. And fortunately, I've always been a nerdy intellectual. So I'm very good at researching. But again, if you're interested in a 1-hour coaching session, through the end of September, there's a $60 special. And you can either go on the website and book on there. It's going to be in the description box below, or you can just shoot me an email. We'll do a little call, see if we click, and start getting your momentum going in the right direction. So cheers, happy Tuesday, and I will talk to you soon. Love and light.